seeing how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And Adam Nathan says plans for the hotel remain unaffected. And this was in reply to Matt Law saying Tottenham have been forced to put transfer plans for this summer on hold amid the double uncertainty over the head coach Ange Postecoglou and whether the club will be competing in Europe next season.
Yeah, you know what? I really don't like that sentiment. Like, in terms of that, we have to put on hold our plans to know what we're doing with the coach and stuff. I understand that you plan ahead for the next season, and sometimes you can maybe make signings early and stuff like that. Maybe by now you're already starting to talk to players about plans for next season. And I understand that right now with Ange still here, and we don't know if he's going to be here next season. And also the main thing I think is, well, we don't know whether we're going to be in Europe next season. So it's hard to kind of make those contacts with players ahead of that because they don't know if you're in Europe and all that kind of stuff. But you're a big £1 billion club. Like, you should be making contingency plans. You should be making plans for every eventuality. You should be planning for Ange being here. You should be planning for Ange not being here. That should all be in your thinking right now. So all this we're putting on hold as if like you're just sitting there like folding up your arms waiting to see what happens on the pitch before you do anything. Like, you have to have some forward planning. Like, you can't. That's not an excuse. Like, you should be able to have contingencies. You should be with the hierarchy, everyone together, like thinking it through, rather than just like sitting on your hands and thinking, well, we can't do anything until we know what's happening next season. We don't know what's happening until we know, how the Europa League or whatever turns out. Like, that shouldn't be how you plan things.
Yeah, 100%. And this club has always had that kind of lack of foresight and planning. We've had it for years, and it feels like we're just in limbo at the moment. We don't know whether we're coming or going. We don't know whether this manager's going to be here next season, whether he's going to be here by the end of the season, we don't know anything about this football club, and it just feels like everything is just consistently a mess, and it's just getting more messier and messier and messier as the years progress.
But as the tweet said, plans for a hotel remain unaffected. So
of course
we'll have somewhere nice to stay on match days.
Thank you very much, Daniel. James Wellham says Spurs have now lost more league games this season, which is 17, than Poch lost in 3 seasons from 2015 to 2018. That was 16 losses over the course of those 3 seasons.
I think this season's also a massive lesson though as well. Like, first of all, that is pretty crazy, but obviously that's the best we've ever been in the Premier League. Yeah. But it's a massive lesson in terms of how bad things can get, and as you say, we're not so far off the relegation zone at the moment. And obviously, we're not going to go get relegated this season, but it's a lesson in terms of you thinking that you're too big to be in this situation, and clearly we're not. And I think maybe because even when we've had bad seasons in recent years, we've still been maybe either fighting for Europe or whatever. Usually, even when we had a terrible season, even at this point, we're fighting for Europe. Yeah. When we finished 8th under Conte and we missed out on Europe completely, we were still in that European fight up until late.
I mean, if we would have finished like 6th or 7th this season, people would have looked at it as a terrible season.
Would have been, still would have been disappointing, sure.
You know what I mean? And we're close to 17th.
Yeah. So, but I think what I'm saying is like it's a lesson that we're not too big to be in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I think the club have kind of felt like we are, and we're just not.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe the club have always taken for granted. I mean, maybe it's just a lesson of like how much Harry Kane actually did for us, because I think we were talking about it the other day, like with all these 1-goal deficits that we've had this season, if Harry Kane was at the club, a lot of those would have been turned into draws or wins.
And especially with Son declining as well,
Yeah, Harry Kane was such a big figure for us and got us out of the mud consistently, time and time again, with this just sheer ability. And not only that, but work rate and, giving a shit for the team consistently. Like, we just took it for granted how good he actually was. And maybe we took it for granted about saying, like, a lot of people were saying, we're never going to be able to replace him. However, we never thought it could get this bad without him.
Yeah. And as well, we were saying at the time, put the Poch here, we massively took that for granted. Massively. We said it at the time, he normalised overachievement. And there's not more true than right now. Look at the state of us. And that's the reality, I think, of this club right now in terms of where we're heading. So we just need to get our shit in order, because it hasn't been in order for a while.
You look at every era though, like since Pochettino. Forget the Pochettino one, right? But look at the Jose Mourinho one, the Antonio Conte one. Without Harry Kane, it probably would have been very similar to this.
100%. I agree with that. If we had, I agree. It probably would have been not too dissimilar.
Yeah. Football Confidential says Vicario and Bergvall. What's going on here, do you think? I mean, it's quite clear what's going on here. Bergvall made a big mistake, and Vicario's going up to him saying, keep your chin up, mate, but in a very aggressive manner.
I agree. This is probably his Italian kind of nature. But I see a lot of people criticising Vicario. I think I saw a lot of one thing that I was getting a lot of likes saying, "Oh, classic Vicario digging out the younger players like he did early in the season." I'm like, that's not what's going on here. He's clearly trying to give him a confidence boost. I know, like, you can see Bergvall trying to get away, so maybe it looks like he's criticised. He's not. He's clearly just trying to tell him to keep your chin up, basically.
Yeah, that's just a fiery Italian mentality. That's just what it is, and I'd much rather see that from a leader in the camp than what Romero did and just walk straight down the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
At least he actually gives a shit about these younger players coming through at this club, and he goes straight over to Bergvall at the final whistle. Romero don't give a shit. He just walks straight down the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No context Tottenham.
That'll be our badge soon.
Yeah.
It won't be too long.
Yeah, 100%. Paddy Power tweeted out saying Liverpool can confirm the title with 3 more wins, which means they can win the title against Tottenham. That'll be the most Spurs fans celebrated all season.
It would be the biggest thing we've done all season. Should we do what? We're obviously going to do a watch along for it, but watch along for the title celebrations.
100%. Men in Blazers says Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. This is a meme, says, I love you, but you are not serious people. I don't know where that means.
That's from Succession.
Succession.
Yeah, very funny. It's good stuff. He's talking to his children.
I see. Joe Cole with a quote yesterday brought from Talk THFC saying, if Tottenham don't beat Frankfurt, you'd imagine that Ange Postecoglou will get the sack. However, I don't believe that Ange is the problem at Tottenham. It's the clarification of who they are and where they want to go, and that comes from the top, and that comes from Daniel Levy. I mean, I do believe, I agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think...
I don't agree with that Ange isn't a problem. I do think he's a problem, but I don't think he's the problem.
Yeah. I just think at the moment, just the whole thing is just... we've always said Levy doesn't know what we want to be, and he's always just jumping.
I think he
from
does
thing
know
to
what he
thing.
wants to be. He wants to be a multi-billion pound
he's got
industry that shits money. That's what he wants to be.
He's got that.
Yeah.
But on the pitch, we're saying he doesn't know what he wants to be.
He wants to be a club that finishes in the Champions League spots. That's what he wants to be.
He's not acting like it.
No. Kane from the Lane says Levy and a lot of Tottenham fans are in massive shock next season when the next manager doesn't have Kane to bail him out. Our team has holes. Our squad isn't good. It's been like that for ages. Kane and Son paper over the cracks, and now they're being exposed. And that's basically what we were saying before, right? Absolutely spot on that. And I don't know about if next season we're in for a real shock. We had that shock this season.
I'm not sure how much, unless you're saying we're going to get relegated next season. This doesn't get much more of a shock than what it is. Right? I hope so anyway. You never know.
A lot of Spurs fans predicted us on the back of last season finishing 5th to finish in the top 4 this season. And now we're like 6th, wherever we are, 15th, 16th, wherever we are, 2 points off 17th. I mean, if that's not the biggest shock to the system, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it should be. You'd like to think that doesn't get much more shocking than that.
Yeah. Clinical Kai says, actually kills me how Tottenham are 17th with the 3rd most goals scored in the league. I mean, that is just nuts, isn't it? Has that ever happened in the history of the Premier League?
Surely not. I can't think of I'm trying to think of a team who were like scored loads of goals but were near the bottom. I can't think off the top of my head like a team like that. Because usually
what about that year that Kevin Phillips got Golden Boot?
That was like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
99, 2000.
Was it for Sunderland or who was it for?
Yeah, it was for Sunderland. That was like 99, 2000. I mean, I doubt they were the third top goal scorers in the league.
No, I doubt third.
They finished
Oh,
seventh.
they finished seventh.
I don't know. It's never really. I don't think it's ever happened. Usually, if you score loads of goals, you're going to be near the top. But
Yeah.
not for Spurs, I
It's
guess.
madness. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Third top goal scorers in the league and 2 points off 17.
It's nuts.
Only Tottenham, man.
Mm-hmm.
Only Tottenham. Eurofoot says Ryan Ait-Nouri makes history by scoring Wolves' fastest goal in the Premier League history. It took him just 85 seconds to score against Tottenham. All these records always come against Tottenham.
we like breaking records.
No context, Tottenham. The bat signal coming for Ryan Mason.
Is that Brian? I thought Brian Daigle puts out the bat signal. Brian Daigle's bat signal.
God. Spurs Army says, here it is, Christian Romero walking straight down the tunnel at Molineux after this afternoon's 4-2 defeat against Wolves. Some captain.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
No, it is disgusting. Especially when you're wearing that cap. Look, even if you're not, but especially that you are, the focus is going to be on you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you just, the full-time whistle goes, you go straight down the tunnel. This guy, he wants out. He's going to go on to bigger things, go to Atletico, go to where they can challenge for big things. He just looks at this club. Look, it shouldn't be a massive surprise how he feels because he said it, didn't he? He said it in the media when he said, "This club don't buy big players. You look at the teams above us, and they all sign big players to challenge again. In this club, we don't do that." And obviously, that's him signaling his frustration with the whole situation. And so it's no surprise that he's there frustrated. Oh, there's Ange. So he's clapping.
Oh, I didn't see him. He's very far away, isn't he?
Yeah. Or is it smart for him to go too near the away fans right now?
I mean, the away fans were pretty receptive to the players that came over. I didn't hear any booing on the final whistle. It was all clapping for some reason.
Okay.
No context. Tottenham tweeted out this Matt Doherty, the classic Matt Doherty meme with a Wolves goal, 1 minute 30 seconds
4 goals
in.
probably.
Yeah. Charlie Parrish says Spurs need a coach who can organise a team and build a culture, not a culture where it's about players having a lovely time or where a vice captain can visibly check out. I want good players caring about the club and winning. The Poch group cared about what people said about us.
Yeah, and it's true. You got Dyer. Remember that Dyer moment where he said, people say Spursy and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Do we have that mentality right now?
No.
We just don't. We have people like Romero who's wants out, who's sick of the club. Like, this is what I was saying to I can't remember who it was, but I was like, people talk about playing for the manager. That's a fair question. But at what point do you start thinking about in the dressing room, are people really playing for this club? You know what I mean? Are they sick of what this club has become?
Yeah.
And is that a conversation about players just getting frustrated with whatever manager comes in, like the direction the club is going? And
100%.
And no one really questions that. It's always like, are they paying for the manager? Because I guess it is the manager's responsibility, which is true, to get them to up for games and stuff, and that's absolutely right. But when it keeps happening with multiple managers, is it like, at what point are they playing for this club?
Yeah, no, it's definitely 100%. It's true, but also the reality of what you said is like Ange Postecoglou, the way we're sitting in the league right now, it's hard for any player to kind of believe in what they're doing when you just consistently lose week in, week out, 17 losses.
Absolutely.
No, but I agree with what you're saying. Like Romero's been here through the Nuno, the Conte, and now the Ange Postecoglou. And the main thing that's held us back is the hierarchy and how they manage this football club. Mm-hmm. And, players are going to come out and talk about it. They have come out and talk about it. But even if you cannot show what Romero showed on when you've got the captain's armband on, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, why is Ange giving him the captain's armband if this is what the traits he's showing? I just don't get it.
But if the players are having these conversations internally, like in the dressing room about where the club is, the frustration, same frustration the fans are going, and the fans are saying, like there are some fans saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter what manager comes in, it's all going to fail. It's all it's rotten from the top." Then it would make sense that the players get completely disillusioned with things, and then you get things like we saw yesterday.
Yeah. But you still got to show some respect for the fans.
100%.
No matter what your feelings are towards the club, towards them. It doesn't matter.
But maybe they're believing what the fans are saying. Maybe that's a problem.
Well, I don't know. But it's true what the fans are saying.
I know, but the problem is if the players believe it, then they get disillusioned.
But do they believe it because the fans are saying it, or they believe it because they're in the four walls of it and actually know what's going on more than the fans?
Regardless, it's still a problem.
Yeah, of course, it's a massive problem. It's a massive problem, and that's why there's protests against the board.
I know, but I'm just saying, if what the fans is saying is true, which obviously we think it is, and the players also not agree with that sentiment. But you don't want the players to agree with it. That's the thing, because you want them to believe that there's something better, that they can achieve what they want to at this football club. But you've got the fans constantly telling them that they can't. You've got
the fans are the problem.
I'm not saying that the fans are the problem. I'm just saying that there is there. I'm asking the question: is there an issue there with the fans basically constantly telling the players you're never going to achieve anything here?
I mean, I don't think it's
and
the
then
fans saying you're never
disillusioned.
going to achieve anything here. They're within the four walls. They know exactly what's going on.
Correct.
It's nothing to do with the fans saying you're never going to achieve anything. They know full well what they're going to achieve here. They know full well what's going on within the four walls of the club. So it's got nothing. The fans,
but they clearly see what fans say and stuff, because we've seen that. With Johnson deleting social media, whatever. We've seen they do see what the fans say.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's the fans' fault. I'm just saying there's this whole culture at the moment, which is clear around Tottenham. This whole narrative about that's very big right now with the protests, the hierarchy. We've seen players even talk about it themselves.
Yeah.
But maybe that sentiment has seeped into the dressing room. I'm saying of this is Tottenham. It's rotten from top to bottom. The problems are hierarchy, all this kind of stuff. We're never going to achieve anything, and that leads to players like Romero and other players being disillusioned.
But let's be real. Like, even when things were good under Pochettino, players were coming out and saying similar things. So, and the noise from the fans wasn't anywhere near as loud as it is now. So, unless something changes from the top, nothing's ever going to change. That's the reality, no matter what the fans say. Next up, we've got Pro Tottenham saying Vicario is so overhyped, I swear. Mistake after mistake after mistake, and some of you say he should be club captain because he shouts a lot. I actually think Kinski is just as good a goalkeeper as Vic, and he's about 6 years younger. I mean, I don't think many people were saying this a few weeks ago. Everyone was
2 days ago, probably.
Yeah, but even more so a few weeks ago, because I think these kind of erratic performances have creeped in over the last couple of weeks. I think a few weeks ago, we were all saying, look how good he's been since coming back from injury. One of the leading goalkeepers in the Premier League with the caliber of performance that he's showing. So I do think Vicario is a very good goalkeeper, but I don't know what's been going on with him last couple of weeks. It really has been starting to get a bit shambolic from him.
Well, it's just the Chelsea game in this game, really. I can't remember too many other games he's been that bad. And even in the Chelsea game, he was shaky, but he didn't make too many massive errors. But he was shaky for sure.
Yeah.
It was just more this game. This game, he was shambles for sure. I agree with that. But to say off the back of that, he's overhyped and Kinski's better, and I don't agree with that whatsoever.
If only we could just merge these two keepers together. Have Vicario's shot stopping with Kinski's on the ball ability. And you're probably looking at one of the best keepers in the world. Johnny Blaine says 4 minutes 56 seconds between 2-1 and 3-1. 1 minute and 40 seconds between 3-2 and 4-2.
So in total, what is that? Because those were fantastic, the best moments of the game. Those about 7 minutes, 6 minutes.
God, it's ridiculous.
It was bliss. Those 6 minutes were bliss.
I don't know about bliss, because even then we still weren't drawing. Tetrunk says there is absolutely nothing to do, nothing to this football other than pretend we're trying something, then knock it out wide and try cross it. We've watched exactly the same game time and time again since last Christmas. Am I mental? How are we still here? And it's kind of not too dissimilar to how I feel, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's hard to argue. We've been doing very similar things, and the same things have been happening for a while. It's not. You're not mental to Trunk.
Ben Bowman says Mason in for Thursday. This has to end now. You can blame it on individual errors today all you want, but that shouldn't disguise from the fact that Ange should be gone. We are an absolute mess. Yeah, it's pretty much what I was saying on the fan show yesterday. Just get this guy out, man. James Moore says Spurs have 43 points from 38 games, which puts you 14th over average over the last 10 Premier League seasons. They may actually need to cling to that stat because it's certainly not impossible that the team don't get 43 points or finish as high as 14th this season.
Yeah, it's probably true, to be honest. We're probably going to be lower by the looks of things. But if we finish low and win Europa League, no one's going to care that much.
Yeah, no context Tottenham. What shape is that? Of what country is that?
I don't know. Russia, maybe? It's a big country. Yeah, usually shows a lot of space there.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's just madness. What are our players doing at this moment?
I don't know. I haven't to see the whole clip, but it doesn't look great that moment. But obviously, I don't think they created a chance from this, luckily. But
still,
yeah,
a better team would have.
Probably.
George Achilles says, convinced we are in the Matrix and anyone that's a Spurs supporter is a social experiment. I mean, I pretty much see these tweets week in, week out.
Maybe we are a social experiment.
Lily White Rose says, just the 4 mistakes leading to a goal then?
Just the 4. Just the 4 this time. Oh, God.
A bit of positivity here from this tweet. Lily White Rose showing some fan reaction to Ashley Phillips' performance on the weekend for Stoke. And 1863 Extra says, don't think Spurs fans realise what a player they have in Ashley Phillips. The player at the start of the season to now is ridiculous improvement. Absolutely beast of a centre-half who is going to go far. Next one from Joe Howard says, Ashley Phillips is the best centre-half we've had since Shawcross and Huth era. Bloke is mustard. Reese says, Ashley Phillips, you absolute king. The best defensive performance of the season by a long mile. Future England star. And Wayne Thomas says, Ash, you were fantastic today again, mate. What a performance. And those last 10 minutes, I thought there were actually 3 Ashley Phillips playing as you were everywhere. This is great to see, isn't it?
And also look at the one the reply to that, the one down. No. Yeah. That tweet and the first reply. Yeah, that one.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, just click. Yeah, go to the last picture, or no, the one before that. Sorry, this one. Yeah, Maldini has Ashley Phillips posters on his wall. What a player Spurs have on their hands.
Apparently, I was reading as well that he's seemed to have got a lot faster this season, which is a big positive.
It's great. Well, at least there's something positive.
Yeah,
and also Donnelly got a goal. Solomon got a goal. And
assist.
I
think I did like them, so maybe we'll go through it. But it doesn't look like I have. Maybe I did it on the wrong account by mistake. But Ashley Phillips was getting a lot of praise. Donnelly was getting a lot of praise, and there was another. And Yang Min Hyuk scored again. He's really starting.
Not yesterday. That was a few days ago.
Yeah, that was a few days ago. But he's starting to get to grips with life at QPR and getting regular contributions. And
Solomon goal and assist.
Solomon got a brilliant goal on the weekend. I mean, what a goal that was from Solomon.
And Vuskovic, I think, had another good game.
I mean, they're all playing well away from Tottenham.
Just not at Tottenham.
Yeah. But that is how the internet did react to the game yesterday. Another disaster class from Tottenham.